It's the late 18th century on a lush Caribbean island called Martinique. The air is thick with sugar, salt, and ambition. And in the middle of this world, far from Europe's grand courts, two young girls are laughing, dreaming, and unknowingly standing at the edge of history. Their names, Joséphine and Aimée. Now, history officially remembers one of them. The other is where things get interesting. Joséphine wasn't born an empress. She was born into a struggling plantation family. Life wasn't glamorous. Hurricanes, death, and uncertainty shaped her early years. Her close companion, according to later stories retold by Benjamin A. Morton in his book The Veiled Empress, was a girl named Aimée Dubuc de Rivéry. Two daughters of the Caribbean, two girls with similar beginnings, two lives about to be split in the most extraordinary way. They were said to be inseparable, walking through sugarcane fields, sharing secrets, imagining futures far bigger than their island. And then one day, everything changed. Like something straight out of a legend, the girls visit a fortune teller. Now pause for a second, because this is where our story starts to blur into myth. The fortune teller looks at them, studies their hands, and delivers a prophecy that will echo across continents. To Joséphine, she predicts, "You will be more than a queen." To Aimée, "You will be greater still, a ruler in the East." Not long after, the girls separated. Joséphine is sent to France. Her path is difficult. Marriage, imprisonment during the French Revolution, survival in one of history's most violent upheavals. But she adapts, she survives, she charms. And eventually, she meets a rising general named Napoleon Bonaparte. Their relationship is complicated. Passion, betrayal, dependency, but undeniable. Napoleon is obsessed with her. He writes her letters filled with longing and jealousy and devotion. And then, in 1804, she becomes the Empress of France. Just as the fortune teller predicted, more than a queen. But what of Aimée? This is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. Aimée boards a ship to France and disappears. No records, no arrival, just gone. But in the Ottoman Empire, thousands of miles away, something curious happens. Her ship was invaded by pirates, and one of the pirates apparently sold her to the Sultan. So now, a mysterious European woman appears in the imperial harem of the Sultan. She rises in influence. She becomes known as a powerful figure in the court. Some claim she becomes the valid sultan, the mother of the sultan himself, a woman with immense political power. And here's the story, that this woman was Aimée. That the girl lost from Martinique became a sultana of the Ottoman Empire. Now, historians debate this fiercely. There is no definitive proof, but the story persisted because it connects two worlds that rarely meet: revolutionary France and imperial Istanbul. This was also possible because in the king's court, she always had her face veiled and covered, and was always in the inner chambers. So the people outside couldn't necessarily know who exactly that was. And that is why there is no proof from the outside world. Now picture this: Joséphine, Empress of France; Aimée, the power behind the Ottoman throne. Two girls, two empires. And if this story is true, it will mean that Napoleon's inner circle and the Ottoman court were connected by a childhood friendship, a secret thread tying together East and West. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. Napoleon's love for Joséphine wasn't enough to secure his empire. He divorces her in 1810 because she cannot give him a successor to the throne. It devastates him more than he lets on. Historians often note that even after the divorce, he kept her close in memory. He trusted her judgment. He valued her intuition. And now we reach 1812. Napoleon prepares to invade Russia. It is one of the most catastrophic decisions in military history. Hundreds of thousands march into the cold. Few return. And here's where storytellers like Morton and Halliburton lean into the emotional truth of the tale. They suggest without Joséphine, Napoleon lost more than a wife. He lost his balance. She had been his emotional anchor, his political sounding board, his connection to something softer, more intuitive. And if we follow the legend further, if Aimée truly had become a powerful figure in the Ottoman world, then the loss of that hidden network of relationships, of influence, may have isolated Napoleon even more. By the time he marches into Russia, he is no longer the same man who rose into power. If Aimée really did become a powerful figure in the Ottoman court, a valid sultana, the mother guiding a ruler, then her influence wasn't just symbolic, it was political. According to this telling, Aimée quietly advised her son, the Sultan, to look favorably upon Napoleon. Think about that for a moment. From behind the veils of the Ottoman palace, a woman who once walked the fields of Martinique may have been shaping the decisions of an empire, nudging it towards supporting France. There are even claims in this narrative that she encouraged the idea of sending aid, or at least aligning strategically with Napoleon's ambitions. But here's the tragic turn. News travels slowly, even if it travels. And eventually, word reaches her of something deeply personal. Napoleon has divorced Joséphine. To most rulers, this might seem like a simple political move, but to Aimée, if she truly believed Joséphine was her lost childhood friend, it meant something else entirely. It meant betrayal. And in this version of the story, everything changes. The support she once quietly encouraged fades. The sympathy for Napoleon cools. And whatever invisible thread may have connected the French Empire and the Ottoman court begins to unravel. But perhaps the most haunting part of this story isn't politics, it's distance. If this legend is true, Joséphine and Aimée never saw each other again after their separation. Not once. No reunions, no letters exchanged directly. Any communication, if it existed at all, would have had to pass through layers of court officials, diplomats, and intermediaries. Filtered, delayed, possibly never even delivered. And here's the most tragic detail of all. Joséphine likely never even knew that Aimée was alive. While one ruled beside Napoleon in France, the other, hidden behind the walls of the imperial harem, lived an entirely separate life, cut off from her past. Two girls who shared dreams, now separated by empires, politics, and silence. Connected, perhaps, but never reunited. And if we follow this story to its emotional core, it suggests something powerful. That behind the grand movements of empires were missed connections, unheard voices, and friendships that history never had the chance to restore.